Teresa, first of all, let me say thank you for allowing me to come into your classroom this morning, and really enjoyed it. Got to see some really good instructional practice.
Thank you.
The hour that I was in the classroom, I saw some really good, effective teaching strategies, and those are some things that I want to talk about today.
Good.
As well as some things I want you to think about. Now,
Right.
again, I want to preface the observation notes are things that I thought went well,
Right.
and then the category things to think about really are some things that, as I observed you
Right.
in the observation, those are things that crossed my mind that I wanted to raise that question in a post-conference
Right.
environment. Okay, let's take a look at some of the things to think about, and then we'll come back and take a look at things that I thought went really, really well. One of the things, first of all, talk to me about the overall, how you felt about the overall lesson itself.
There's three different.
Yeah, there were three different segments. Yep.
So I'm very good at transitioning them from each segment. It's flowing very smoothly. They're not having gaps in time to where we're, oh, did you figure out how to sit on a carpet?
What do you think some of the reasons are for those successful transitions?
Because we do practice them.
Okay.
In the beginning it was very slow,
Mm-hmm.
very directed. Okay, this is what I need you to do. This is how it looks. This is what and then it was more, oh, I see you know, and more student-led. Yes, I am so-and-so is finding it. Well, they know it. Let's all do it, so then they have more independence and a sense of control,
Mm-hmm.
even though I'm in control. They have that sense of personal control.
You bet.
And so they enjoy getting to move back and show they know where they can go and they know how to do it. So
Yeah. As you did the three different segments of learning,
Right.
okay, talk to me about your perception of the levels of engagement of all the kids in the classroom.
Okay. The first section is more. They're not, I'm to start it even if they're not all there.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I struggle with that a little bit because I want them all there.
Mm-hmm.
It's important. If it's important for all.
Sure.
So sometimes I try to manage that by who I call to let go to the bathroom first.
Okay.
So I say, oh, well, this group will take longer. Those ones at that table, so I want to let them go first. So I'm trying to find solutions to make sure that they all are getting there a little bit sooner. A lot of talk about, your bodies. I don't know your body. You know if it's an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not an emergency, so I'm really working on if it's not an emergency.
Right.
We have lots of other times we're going to the bathroom.
Do you find that the kids are responding to that?
Some are starting to respond to that because even when we went to lunch, I said, you know your body. And two of them got right out of line
Mm-hmm.
and just went to go get ready for the next transition. So
Okay.
I do see that they are, and I like that we move from one area and when we go to the next segment, I'm also sliding down. It's not like they're going from one segment to the other and they're moving and I'm not. So
Yeah.
I get to move with them.
What I really enjoyed was the fact, as you just mentioned, that you move the kids from environment to environment within the classroom so that they're getting different environments for different pieces of academic learning. And I thought that was extremely powerful. Okay, when students are reciting, okay, because several times you had the kids all reciting
Right.
together, how are you assessing if all the students are with you?
I'm watching them. I used to watch the person because I wanted them to learn, because we did a lot of lessons on the focus scope and who's your focus. So that's what I start with. I always try to preface it. Now, who's your focus? So that they remember that. Now I'm not teaching, show me your focus. They're doing it now. So what was the question again?
How are you assessing when
assessing,
kids are
yeah.
reciting together?
So I'm able to back off about the teaching the procedure.
Okay.
And now I'm able to pay attention more of who's just staring at the space, counting along. I'm watching if the leader is going with the students, or if the students, there's one time I had to tell the leader today to slow down because the kids were going so fast that she started
Yeah.
speeding up. She's the focus.
Yeah.
They, so she can go slow or she can go fast, and so I track that. I try to follow who's counting, and if I see that they're not, I give them a lot of eye contact, and I start counting, and then they hear my voice, and then they might look up.
During the reciting segments, did you notice that all the kids were engaged?
Not all, but the one who is less likely to be engaged, she's an English isn't her first language.
Okay.
So
Is there
she
somebody?
wants to say uno, dos, tres, not 1, 2, 3. So.
Is there someone there to assist her during that, or?
No, they just get
Okay.
pulled out for,
Okay.
that, for
Okay.
their English instruction.
Okay. Talk to me a little bit about the use of the paraprofessional in the classroom.
She's strictly one-on-one for that one student, so I am not positive at sometimes how I can have her help within the classroom because she does too much for the student, and I've been sharing that with the teacher.
Okay.
So I have more time when I'm alone with a small group, and she's pointing to every answer for him. He's not, and he's using the right words because he has a visual. He's visually blind, but he can see. So he's supposed to track. So I use that word a lot.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
and I heard him to track it to find something today. So
Was there any time where the classroom teacher sat down and talked about expectations with that paraprofessional?
I'm sure they've had their own
Okay.
discussion in the beginning of the year because they do have times where they
Yeah.
discuss. So now I'm just sharing because I'm
Yeah.
the 100% teacher.
Right.
I says, I see this. I'm,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, I want you to, when you do get into the classroom
Right.
as the lead teacher,
Right.
it's going to be very, very important that you take a serious look at outlining what the two of you think the expectations
Right.
should be of that paraprofessional, because oftentimes you're going to find that paraprofessionals, even though they're one-on-one and they have that obligation to that child,
Right.
they can assist in other ways as well.
Yes,
So it really depends on the collaboration that goes
Yeah.
on between those
I
two
mean, like
teachers.
when the teacher, the cooperative teachers thought my great idea of the way we arranged them on the carpet was great. Some of those more challenged students that they just need a reminder, they need a tap. They're ADHD, they just need a tap.
Okay.
And so I kind of put them near her, but I never really had that discussion with her to tap them.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I can see where I,
Sure.
let myself down on that
Yeah,
part. And I
yeah.
let that student down on that part because they could,
Well, as long as you're aware of that, you can make those adjustments.
Right.
Absolutely. How do you determine the length of an academic segment?
it's paced mostly. So they say an hour for math, that's the dedicated time. So the teacher has set up the time frame, the cooperative teacher, and so that's the time frame I follow.
So within that hour, how do you break that up so that you don't lose the kids?
I struggle because I need to leave this classroom the way I found this classroom. It's not necessarily the classroom I would have
Okay.
because it's a worksheet centered classroom.
Okay.
And when I tried to have math centers for them so that they got done early, because I kept being instructed, they need more time to do that worksheet. And so I'm to give them 20 minutes to do 6 problems, that just kind of kept stifling me. So I set up some math centers and they got done in 5 minutes. And almost all of them got done with their,
Yeah.
so that showed me that if I had math centers
Yeah.
to keep them engaged in math and on the subject that we're doing, not any kind of math,
Have you
there would be an improvement in my interaction and time for those.
Have you had any chance or opportunity to sit down and ask the cooperating teacher if you can experiment with this strategy versus this strategy? Or do you feel
Well,
intimidated
I guess
not
I do
doing that?
feel, I wouldn't say intimidated, but she can, like, for instance, I want, I want authentic work.
Mm-hmm.
So if they don't get done, I want it stopped there. And I collect their papers, and when I'm not looking, she goes and she pulls all the papers out and puts them back in their Finish Me folder. And I said, I need that because I have to graph all this stuff. And I understand the procedure, and
Okay.
every question that's wrong is circled, and they have to finish it before they can get done. They
Well-
don't have to have the answer right. They need to experience.
Okay.
Well,
Well, one of the things that I want you to focus on in the second assignment is to have maybe those conversations early with the cooperating teacher so that both of you feel comfortable with your ability to try to experiment with some strategies that you're comfortable with.
Like one day I did the math center, and she didn't seem, so I don't know.
Okay. How do you decide on who to call on in class? Is there a specific
I have different strategies. If it's a quicker pace, I use their sticks.
Okay.
I use the sticks then because if I do it during just general questioning, it takes so long to get through all those sticks. And they're like, I didn't get picked, I didn't get picked. I said, but we're on blue and we have a red sided stick and a blue sided stick. So the sticks have gone from red to blue and blue to red. So I know you've been called on.
Good.
So I try to do it when there's a more faster. So that way they sense that. And even today it was interesting because I did the boy-girl thing. Boys can get it, girls can get it first. And I tried to always, boys, switch it off. And a couple of them said, yep, gotta be fair. And I'm like, I did not even instruct that. And there was no instruction as to, we're doing this procedure so you all feel fair, but they just came up with it. So they're feeling it.
You're reinforcing that, that's great.
Right.
That's
and
great
when
to see.
I know that my struggling learners, if it's a question that, you kind of start with the more easy questions and then you get deeper thinking. So I call on them first. If it's a question where I know they're going to need some support, I might call on a tag student. So I do kind of judge the question as to who has the, I'm not going to call on a struggling student to answer a question that is so beyond what they can, that they're going to, and then they don't want to ever answer questions.
Yeah.
So.
Looking at the 3 segments, is there anything that you do differently after you've done those 3 segments? Is there anything you thought maybe I should tweak or change in the instructional practice? Or have you had a chance to
I guess I
think
maybe
through that?
haven't thought through that.
Okay.
Because again, I'm presented material as if it is a script. As I have had continued experience and I've approached a cooperative teacher saying, and I'm just going to get through this. And so I just cut it up and she goes, that's what you do, that's what you do. You got it. So I'm learning that I can change what is handed to me as a script.
Okay.
So that has been a good improvement.
Good.
That I have changed some things because I'm marking out what's the essential, and if I have time for those other things that support that, then we cover it. But
Good. Well, listen, some things that I really enjoyed watching in the classroom. First of all, you had command of the class even when the kids were coming into the classroom. I really like the fact that you make an attempt to have some kind of relationship conversation with the students as they are coming into the class.
And I would just say that that's something where I changed because her procedure is for me and her to just be over there. And I think that's my one prime time where I can have individual conversation and conferences, because otherwise in the day I haven't been provided those opportunities.
Well, so, it allows you to make those connections with kids that aren't just strictly academic.
Right.
They're social as well.
Yes.
So it really, it shows that you're willing to get to know the whole child.
Right.
Not just the child in that particular class. I thought the classroom was well organized. I thought the lesson was well organized. I liked how you introduced the new student in the classroom. I thought that was very, very important. You could tell that she felt very excited to be there because you took the time to introduce her to the whole class. I like the strategies that you use, Teresa, that are both verbal and physical. I think it's very, very important to use both to engage kids in the classroom. Your transitioning was good. You saw that the kids were getting a little antsy. You stopped them. You said, let's stand up, let's take a stretch break, and let's work out the kinks or whatever it was. The kids did that and got back to work. So you had kind of your hand on the pulse of the kids' learning at that point, and I thought that was real effective. You stopped the class when need be. You redirected them when you had to bring them back for academic focus. So that was very good. Really think your voice and your demeanor is very positive and reinforcing.
Yeah, that was one of my key things starting out is working on my projection and my voice to be inclusive
Yes.
and to be, you know, not a mom voice.
Right. Well,
Look, she's correcting me. No,
yeah.
no, we're just
Yeah.
a community. We're a community.
and I would have to believe that the kids feel comfortable because of that voice and tone that you share with them. So overall, I thought it was a very effective lesson. Enjoyed being in the classroom, as I mentioned earlier. And keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thanks. And you can
Find my
keep
glasses.
that,
Yep,
and I'll
thank you.
keep this, and you can get out of here.